Hey, all you Forexers out there, I am so psyched that you're here with me today. It proves to me that you're worthy of adopting the Forex Agent Manifesto and becoming a Forex agent. You have a chance to build the absolute dream business, and this just gets me so excited. Today, we're going to chat about something I call foundational thinking. Hi, I'm Kelly Johnston, founder of the Forex Formula, and the big question is this. How are real estate agents like us able to create a constant stream of commissions and a constant stream of leads while enjoying life without wasting big budgets on branding, without working crazy hours, without worrying where the next deal's coming from in today's real estate market? This podcast is here to reveal the answers. There's something that most people miss in all walks of life, in all areas of expertise, in all sales environments, in all of our North American school systems, in most real estate offices for sure. All of us do this instinctively. We just want to start. We fall into things sometimes and we just kind of keep going down that path. And then all of a sudden we're in a rut, and then it starts to carve deeper, and then it's like a ditch. And then it's like a cavern that all of a sudden we can't get out of. And we have no idea how to get out of it. We don't even know how we started in the first place. We just started doing it. And it gets hard to change paths when you've got all these walls around you already, right? And that's kind of like our programming that we have through our life, right? We just kind of go down this path, and this is kind of how we think, and this is how we do things, this is how we interpret things. These are our habitual beliefs. This is our, it's all that kind of stuff is kind of built up, and all these little walls are around. So it's hard to kind of change and get out of those paths, right? Does that make sense? So then we kind of have somebody that comes along and says, okay, I'm gonna transform your thinking. We're gonna think about things this way, and then you're gonna have all these aha moments for a second. But you're kind of like, okay, well, this could be this is an outcome I want. I want this outcome. I want it, and I want to get pulled out of the ditch. I want to get pulled out of the cavern, right? And so right away we go to, okay, give me the secret sauce. Just give it to me. Give me the blue pill. Give me the magical thing that's gonna get me out of this and make it easier for. And that's the first thought. That's the first kind of way we think all the time. We want to make it easier. I don't want to have to change. I don't want to have to learn new things. I don't want to have to improve myself. I don't want to have to think about all these things. I just want the secret sauce. I just want the super easy thing. I'm stuck in this deep cavern of thinking, and it's hard for me to not think this way, and it's really hard. And I've built up these habitual behaviors, attitudes, and mindsets. Just throw down the rope ladder and just get me out of this thing so I can get out of here. Throw it, please, just throw it. We're looking for the next step. What's the next step? What do I do now? Get an injection of information, right? It's just like, oh, give me the information so that I can have that moment, and then I can apply it. And it may work for that time. It may not. Either we achieve something from that action or we don't. And then if we don't, we're kind of left like scratching our heads, wondering what to do. And we either begin to figure things out, or we allow frustration to kind of set in, and that's either going to hold us back or cause us to pause. That's human nature. Our minds naturally go into this mode when we're embarking on something new. When it's something new, this is how we do, this is what we do. We all do this. I want to let you know I recognize that. I understand it, but we do this. So what I'm asking you to do is just recognize that. Just understand this is what you're going through, and it's okay. It's okay to be going through this, but it's my responsibility to kind of help you recognize where you're at mentally at the moment, because I've been there. I've been through all this stuff, and I've interpreted it all, and I've kind of gone deep, and I've thought it through, and I've internalized it, and I've just kind of come to this place so that I know that I can turn around and go, okay, dude, I can help you out of the ditch. But the thing is, there's some things you're going to have to do, There's some things I can't do for you. I can't make you climb the ladder. I'll throw the ladder down, but you're going to have to climb it. And it might be hard, right? Your feet may slip sometimes. There's all that going on. Okay, but the first thing that goes on in our minds is the what's, right? Let me write this down. Okay, so the first thing is the what's, right? All of these what's, all of the what's. What are the tools I need? What strategy do I need to employ? What is the next step? What do I do with this widget, right? How do I make this work, right? What are the right forms? What are the rules of engagement? What are the costs? What's my goal? What's my opportunity? What is the minimum monthly amount of money that I need to just survive? Like what? There's always what's. And I'm letting you know that we have the what. And you just didn't know about the what, but we're going to put the what in front of you and help you with that. But next, what goes on in our minds is the who, right? Who's here to help me get me started? Who's the boss? Who's the big dog in the office? Who's the person that's kind of the big man that I need to kind of maybe look at and maybe emulate or think about what they're doing and maybe learn from them or just kind of watch their body language or whatever it is. Who's the big dog, right? Who's governing me? And enforcing the rules. Who do I speak to get what I need? It might be staff members, it might be the managers, it might be the brokers, it might be who knows? Like, who is it, right? I got to know that. Who am I going to serve or help? Who should I be careful of ticking off? Who's my client? Who do I compare myself to? And that happens a lot. A lot of us do that. Who's the person that will help me the most? Who do I start to rely on? And or who intimidates me? Who am I kind of scared of? Like all these things are just entering your brain, right? And I get it. I'm just helping you understand that I understand, right? But next is the hows. This is the big one. This is where everybody gets to, right? So you go through all this kind of process of thinking, and you're going through all this stuff in your brain. But the next one is the how. Now this is big. This is huge. Hows. I'm gonna make it a little bit thicker because this is what happens, and this is where we all get caught up. We all get caught up on that one, and this is what happens. Okay, how do I approach this challenge? Taking into account all the parties that are involved. How do I talk to people? How do I learn what I need to know to get started as fast as possible? How do I get started? How do I fill out these forms? How do I do a contract? How do I structure my day? How do I keep myself motivated? How am I gonna pay for all this? How much money do I need to get me through to the next time I get paid? How am I gonna survive? How do I trim down monthly costs so I can get through this? How do I find a buyer? How do I meet a seller? How do I get to know people at all? How do I get in front of people? How do I do a listing meeting, an open house, make appointments or showings and all this kind of stuff? Somebody please just tell me how. Tell me how. And then I'll just go and do it. But I need to know this now. I need to know the how right now because there's a time thing going on. I'm running out of money and the clock is ticking and I need the hows. I got to get the hows going on so I can take action. I totally remember this. And if you're thinking that way, if that's going on in your brain and all that kind of stuff, that's healthy and it's good. And I'm really happy you're there. If this is kind of relating to you, if you're kind of going, yeah, I want the how, like just give it to me. Give me the how. I want to give it to you. I'm going to give it to you. I'm so excited about this. I'm really excited about this. But we've built up this impatience from the way our society functions right now. And everybody just wants everything now. Everyone just they want their burger in 2 minutes. And if they got to wait and go park on the side for another 2 minutes, they're ticked off, right? We're getting burgers in 2 minutes. This is crazy. If I want to know something right now, I just Google it. And within 2 seconds, I've got thousands of answers in front of me that I can sift through. And I get suggestions and a bunch of ads and all that now too. But it all appears within seconds. I'm just declaring right now, hear me on this. We need to just rein it in for a second, okay? Just for a second, for a little bit, and we need to take a little time on the why, okay? All of this is fine, and this is all great. This is all natural, okay? All of that is super, it's important, but why? Why? Okay? I don't know why I got all artsy with that. But anyway, why? Why? What about the why? Okay, so let's talk about this. This is where foundational thinking has to take place. The foundation of everything, of why, of all of this stuff. Because this stuff is not perfect. This stuff is not, this is ever changing. There's lots of moving targets going on in here. There's lots of things in the world that happen that affect a lot of these things all the time. And it's going to keep happening. I'm sorry, I'm going to tell you that right now. It's going to happen. But the thing is, if you don't know why, then what's going to happen is you're going to be traveling along and you're going through your journey and and you're gonna have your ups and downs of your journey, and you're gonna go through all that. And then every once in a while, something's gonna come in front of you. That's life. This is life right here. That's challenges, okay? But if you know why, and that you know that that's where you're going, this is your why, and your eye is on that, and here you are traveling along, and you're moving along. If you've got your eye on the why and you can see it, and you're still paying attention to it, if you've still got that going on right here, then what's going to happen is this is just something you got to get over. You just hop over it. You got to figure out how to get over it. You're willing to go through what you need to go through. You need to exert more energy, or you're gonna have to learn something or whatever. But you're going to get over that because your why is established. This is really, really, really important. And so if you get over that, but some people, if they don't know, if they don't have an eye on anything, this becomes a wall, and it's doink, and then they go down again, and they start back over here, and they do this doink, and they do this pattern. Now you may know about this pattern. You may feel this pattern, right? If you don't know the why, and it's not crystallized in your mind, that's going to happen to you. And you might have experienced this in your life because you didn't take the time. So I just encourage you, ask the question, why? Just start with that, and then start to write stuff down. We go through this in the course. Basically, module 2. Module 1 is introductory, get it all set in place, make you understand everything. Module 2, the first thing we do, we spend a whole module. I actually introduce a quick way to get some business right away just to get you going. But I go over the why in module 2. And this is in the foundational part of the course. Because I know I could teach you all the greatest things in the world, and you're not going to do them. Or as soon as something like this happens, it's all going to stop, or it's all going to be for naught. And I don't want that to happen. I cannot have that happen. I have this responsibility to ensure that when you go through our course, that you're going to succeed. The only thing is I can't control is you. I can't control that. My daughter was always an excellent communicator, even as a baby. For some reason, we always just kind of knew what she wanted. She would just make a sound of some sort, and we knew, okay, that was change the diaper, and she'd make a sound. I don't know what it was about her, but we just kind of always knew what she needed. And she would need some food. Okay, fine. Or she just wants to be held, or she was tired, or whatever. We just kind of knew all the time. And as she got a little older, I remember this. She was actually talking in 10 months. Like in 10 months, she was starting to formulate sentences and communicate with us very, very well. She was a very good communicator and pretty intelligent about that kind of stuff. And I'm not saying everybody does this. They say their kids are more intelligent, but I don't mean that at all. I just, more so than my boys. And I remember watching her one time in a setting where we were sitting with a bunch of people and in a living room, and we were having this visit, and there's all these people kind of sitting around in the room. And everybody's just yapping away, and there's all these conversations going on. And I remember looking over at her. She was sitting with Nicole on her lap. And I looked over at her, and she was sitting on Nicole's lap. She's about 8 months old at this time. And she was kind of moving her mouth. She's like mimicking all these people that she's watching all this stuff going on. And she's kind of mimicking it as she's doing it. And I thought, man, this is really cool. But as she got older, she began to ask these questions all the time. She's, Daddy, and like if we're going somewhere in the car, and I'd say, okay, we're going to go somewhere in the car now. And she'd say, why? And then, you need to finish your plate and eat all your vegetables. And she would say, why? All of you probably, if you know any kids, they do this. They ask why a lot because they want to understand. They're seeking to understand. I would read the same book over and over and over and over. I don't know if you know this one, Mr. Brown Can Moo, and I'd make all the animal sounds and everything. And she would, I would say, okay, we got to stop reading the book now. It's time to go to bed. And she'd go, why? I really like this book and I love it. And I'm like, okay, but it's been like 10 times and my voice is starting to get worn out here. But anyway, she would ask why a lot. She would ask why every single time we said that there was something else to do. Over and over again. Why? And even though it was coming from a curious child, I remember thinking to myself, every time she asked a question, no matter how trivial it is, or I do start actually thinking to myself. I start thinking about why. My mind instinctively began attempting to give her an appropriate answer. Even though this is a 3-year-old asking me why about some trivial thing, I still mentally went into this mode of thinking about the answer to the why. Now, I'm going to pause for a second and talk about this. Because I said so is never a good answer, parents, okay? So if you're a parent right now and you say, because I said so, because you don't want to answer the why or you don't want to think about it, I get it. I understand the feeling of that, but that does not serve your kids well. I think I may have said that a couple times, but it's not a good answer. I truly believe that if your children understand the impact of their decisions, they're going to become better decision makers. When you discipline or enforce some sort of rule, then it's only fair that they know why, that they understand what's going on. They understand the why of that. If they know why, if they know the impact, if they know the pain that will be caused, if they know how it will negatively affect other people, if they know the positive outcome, if they know the lesson that they're going to learn from it and how it will apply to their lives as they get older, and they're spoken to out of respect and they understand why, you will get less friction from them, and you're going to enjoy children that grow up confident in their decision making, and they'll go into these modes when they eventually have important decisions to make in their life. And it's just something to consider. Anyway, back to it. Okay. So anyway, why? Why? Okay, if we ask the question, we know this, right? If we ask the question, our minds begin to look for the answer. Our minds will do that, especially on a subconscious level. This is how we begin to program our minds, by asking the right questions to ourselves. Why? It's the most important question. It is the basis of foundational thinking. In the beginning of the course, we do a deep dive into this, as I was just talking about. We spend a whole module on this before getting into the what's and hows, because I know that I have all of that information to give you and I want to give it to you. It's all there from start to finish. I go over every single thing. I go over every single facet of the business, every action step, how to deal with the various situations. But it's all to make you a great 4X agent. I know it. Some of you know my story, but like, this stuff is real. It's applicable. It's easy to apply. I've formulated and created all the tools. The building blocks to real estate success are literally all in the 4X formula course. It's all there. I've poured 22 years of my experience and messing up and then figuring it out and then organizing it and then making it easily applicable. And really, I really believe anybody can do this. Like, any person can succeed in this. But not every single person applies the steps the same way. Not every person has the same why. Every one of you have a different why. Every one of you have different needs and goals and mindsets. Some of you are going to have a smaller why, and that's okay. But once you get there, you're all of a sudden going to have this realization, wow, I just achieved that? Well, I wonder if I could achieve this, right? And that's going to be the start. And it's going to be so exciting because that's going to be a growth thing for you. So all these things are really, really, really exciting. It has to be done. So I'm just a guy who's just failed more than you. I've just failed more than you. I'm farther down the road. But I'm turning around and I'm going, okay, guys, I know how to get there now. Let me take you through. Let's go. Follow me. Let's go on the right path. It's going to be awesome. So anyway, okay, enough about that. So we're going to make this affordable. We're going to deliver it to you. It's not ready yet, but we're getting there. This stuff is absolutely life-changing for real estate agents who want to be in the top 20%. I'll get you there. But, it means nothing. It's all a waste of time. It will have a minimal impact on your life and your business, or it will have a huge impact on your business. But it may just fire and fizzle, right? You may get this huge impact, get all pumped up and everything, and then fizzle out. Unless you know with absolute certainty and crystal clarity why you want to build it, why you want that certain amount of money. Making 100,000, 200,000, 500,000, 1.5 million, whatever that is not an answer to why. It's not an answer. It's just a goal. That's not why. Goals are great. We need to set them. We need to measure them along the way to make sure we're on track to the goal. I get all that, and we're going to teach that. That's actually in module 3. We actually go over this in the course. We set goals that are applicable to the real estate business. We set goals that have different measures that are integrated into the goals systems. And there's certain goals that affect other goals. And you need information in order to set those goals. So this is all kind of black and white stuff, right? And it's measurable stuff. We need to take the information that's pertinent to your area of business, where you are, your average dollar per deal, all that kind of stuff affects your goals and how you're going to set your goals. So we'll go through all that. Then we map it out. And then as we map it out, that's kind of the seed of belief. In module 1, I talk about this. In module 1. So we talk about the seed of belief. You need that to start germinating. And once the belief starts, oh my gosh, yeah, I think I could do this. Then you start to move forward. Goals are super important, but the money goals and deal goals are just measuring sticks. They're just measuring sticks for the ultimate why. Why? Why do you want to earn that money? Why? What will it do for you? How will it affect your family if you achieve those goals? What does your life look like? How does that affect you 5 years from today? 10 years from today? What is the driving burn behind the income goal? You know, the first thing that you may need to accomplish is just get out of debt, right? That might be your first thing. Just get out of debt. That's okay. But why? How does it feel once you're out of debt? Internalize that. Once you have emotions attached to a goal or a why or a dream or an ideal, once you attach emotions to that, it's incredibly powerful. You need to revisit your why over and over again. You need to internalize what it's going to feel like to achieve that as if you're feeling it today, because your subconscious doesn't know the difference. We're going to talk about all that stuff. This will drive you way more powerfully. The power of why is so incredibly important. So in all decision making some sort of why should be there as a foundational question. You have to ask that question. I bought a real estate company back in 2007. Here's an example of not having the why in place, okay? And in our area, the impact of the crash of 2008, when the world market crashed, occurred in the fall of 2008. That's when it really kind of hit. Like literally everything like stopped. Like it was like stop. 5 months is crazy. And I had to go into survival mode in all aspects of my life. Now this is a long story. I'm not going to go into all that stuff right now. But in 2013, 6 years later, I took an entrepreneurial course with Michael Gerber. And it was a class type thing with a person that was trained from Michael Gerber's systems, and they needed space to do the training. And I said, well, I'll give you space in my office, and then but in exchange for a place in the course, because I didn't have the money to pay for it at the time. So I leveraged the space I had in the office to get in on this course. So I started taking it and I started applying the principles in the course to my real estate company at the time. So now I'm a top producing realtor, but I'm also owner of a company, and I had all these real estate agents that I'd recruited and got in there, and I wanted to give more value to them and build up the company. And so I thought, well, I'm going to apply all this stuff to that. I was halfway through the course, and it goes deep. I was taking the course in order to apply the principles, and I realized halfway through the course that I had just blown up 6 years of my life running this company. And it wasn't a waste, because I learned a lot of lessons, and I became incredibly humbled through all of that. And I changed a little bit as a person, quite a bit as a person, going through all that kind of stuff. And the person that I became throughout it is invaluable. And I can't put a number on that. But halfway through, I started applying the lessons that I was learning about why I was doing what I was doing, and about what I wanted to achieve, and about who I wanted to impact, about the lifestyle that I wanted. And it hit me like a Mack truck. Bam! The vehicle that I'm in is never going to get me there. It's not going to deliver on that, ever, no matter what. So I need to design something that will do that for me. And so I went into that mode of thinking, and I started thinking, well, what would start to achieve that? What would start to bring that into play? And thus, here we are, the seed, the genesis, the core elements of this whole project. This 4X formula training course began then 6 years ago. And now here we are, and I'm just so excited about this. It's really happening. Everything that was in my mind at the time, and how I wanted to deliver the information, and the value that I wanted to be able to give to people. And actually, a lot of the technology 6 years ago actually wasn't there. Like the way I wanted to deliver the information, there was no ways to deliver it at the time. I didn't even know how to do it. Like I just told people, okay, this is what I want to do. This is how I want it to function. This is how I want the people in the course to go through in their journey. And I want to make sure it functions that way. The technology actually wasn't even invented yet. It wasn't even designed yet. And so, here we are. The technology's kind of caught up to what I wanted to do in my mind. And so here it is. So it's pretty cool. But it all started with the why. It all started with that. Imagine if I asked the question why and really went deep into it before buying the real estate company. I had no why when I first entered into real estate. None. No why at all. Survival. Let's try this. My friend's making money, and then he asked me to come on board with him. That was my why. Because my buddy asked me and he needed some help. And are you kidding me? Zero foundational thinking was applied there. Like none. I just fell into it. So the result was I just floundered for a lot of years. I floundered. I didn't even know why I was doing it. So the foundation to everything is so important. Before you even go off on this life thing, you need to know why you're doing it. You got to build a strong and firm foundation that lays in everything. And then when you start to build on top of that, it's going to stick. It's going to be strong. It's going to have everything in place. I had no foundation. That's why I had to start over 3 times, because it kept crumbling. It kept falling apart. You've ever witnessed a condo building going up? So they tear down all the houses and everything, and then they start to dig, and they go deep down, and it's actually amazing to watch. If you've ever driven by the same site for a couple years, you'll notice it takes forever to get that foundation in. They dig this enormous hole in the ground for the parking areas and all the stuff underneath, and then there's these guys working down there for years putting it all in place. And then once that's all in place and everything's all there and the concrete's all poured and the firm foundation is in place, and it could take 2 to 3 years. I've seen it sometimes. It takes 2 to 3 years. And then all of a sudden, a 20-story building will go on top of that. And it'll take like a year or 2 to build the 20 stories on top of the first 2. And the building contractor knows that the foundation is the most important aspect of it, right? The engineers know that. The architects know that. Everybody is designing that. They start with that. Before they even get to go, they need to know that the ground is going to be solid enough. They've built buildings in Dubai on sand, so they've had to put these huge pillars of concrete, like almost more stories down than the actual building in Dubai. I don't know if you ever watch a thing on Dubai on how they build buildings, but it's sand. Like there is no foundational stuff. They actually have to manufacture foundations that are almost as much cost as the building to build before they even start building. And that takes years and years and years and years and years and planning. And so is it worth it to spend a little bit of time on the foundation, to get into the foundational thinking of it? You know, it's funny, when they start to market the condos, they don't market the foundation. They don't go, oh man, this building has an amazing foundation. It's got a special amount of concrete. We've got several 100,000 pounds of rebar in there. And I think you're going to really like this condo because of the amazing foundation that we have put in place here. So, you want to buy the condo? No! They're talking about the cabinets, and they're talking about the flooring, and they're talking about the color scheme, and they stage it all nicely and everything. And the views that maybe are provided from the condo units and all that kind of stuff. All the emotional stuff, right? They're not talking about the foundation. It's the funniest thing. So it's not sexy. I get it. It's not. But it has to happen, because if that building falls down, if that building crumbles down to the ground, what are they going to talk about? Are they going to talk about the views? Are they going to talk about how beautiful it is? Are they going to talk about the cabinets? No, they're going to talk about the stupid builder, and they're going to talk about the horrible architect, and they're going to talk about the city officials that approved this plan, and they're all going to get blamed, and it's going to be a mess, and it's going to be ugly, and everybody's going to be screaming and yelling and hating each other. There's going to be lawsuits going on. It's going to be yucky, and they would totally forget about how beautiful the condo was inside, right? All they would talk about is the collapse. There's a lot of beautiful looking realtors out there. There's a lot of people that look successful. There's a lot of people. I was one of them. I'm not saying I was beautiful, but I was one of those people up there that actually a lot of people would look at and go, wow, that's a nice condo building kind of thing. But I had no foundation. And when I was collapsing, I still had to look like I was kind of successful. Does that make sense? You got to take the time to nail down your foundation. You have to build out your why. And I mean really flesh it out. Lots of mental picturing. Before you build the building, you need a set of plans, right? And the plans tell all the guys what to do. Well, that's part of it. You got to create the plan first. And then you start the foundation. Then and only then, after the foundation is laid in, then you start to build. And we're going to do that. We're going to build it. But we got to get the foundation in. So I encourage you to take the time at least watch module 1 of our course. I think it's free right now. I help you understand what it's all about. We're launching soon. Remember, anyone listening to this podcast will get a super duper 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 discount for being an early adopter. And I don't want to devalue what the course is by saying that. All I'm saying is nobody knows yet, right? And I need some people to say some nice things about it if they like it and it works for them. And I need some feedback so that I can tell other people later once it's all in place. And like, that's the honest truth. I mean, you guys are with me right now while we're building this thing. And so I think you should get rewarded for that. And you're not gonna have to wait for anything. Once we launch, it'll be in order and everything will be there for you. But I want to make sure that you're gonna get rewarded for that. And if you're seeing any kind of value in some of the conversations that we're having, then imagine what our course is going to be like when it's organized and in a format. So I'm really excited to deliver this to you. This is going to be an awesome journey that we're embarking on together. I just want you guys to have a great day. And don't be afraid to ask the question, why? Why? Because I said so. No, I'm just joking. Have a great day. Hey, I hope you enjoyed that last episode. Here's the reality that you may or may not know. The top 20% of real estate agents take home 80% of the money out there, while the bottom 80% are fighting over 20% of the scraps that are left. Do you have a desire to be in the top 20%? If you're working hard and not sustainably making 6 figures of income and beyond, the problem is not you, it's your system. I struggled for years until one day the light bulb came on and I figured out how to simplify the real estate business. If you want to learn my secrets that anyone can implement immediately, that I still use every day, that pays me multiple 6 figures every year, go to 4xformula.com right now. That's 4xformula.com. The number 4xformula.com.